The film begins with a young woman amusing herself with a sheet of paper. She folds it, rolls it, and then ignites it with a lighter. Later, we find her seated in a cluttered room filled with broken chairs, appearing bored while chewing gum. Subsequently, she is depicted reclining in a car and smoking on the hotel rooftop. Her demeanor suggests inner turmoil and a lack of purpose. Soon after, a man arrives at the hotel carrying bags. Upon spotting him, the girl retreats indoors. She is in the laundry room when the man checks in at the front desk. Following a conversation with the desk attendant, the man, known as Danny, settles his bill up front. However, the attendant proposes an alternative arrangement. He can perform tasks around the hotel in lieu of payment if necessary. Danny then heads to his room, only to find himself surprised as he enters. Immediately, a police officer attaches an ankle monitor to him, instructing him to remain in his room from 7 p.m. to 8 a.m. daily under the threat of returning to prison if he violates this directive. After the officer departs, Danny instructs to keep the door open. Subsequently, the desk attendant and the earlier girl, now revealed to be mother and daughter, share a meal together. The girl, Clara, expresses curiosity about Danny's past incarceration, revealing that her own father is also imprisoned. While Lawrence, the mother, mentions Clara's upcoming meeting with her father, she decides against taking Clara along, much to Clara's disappointment, as she hasn't seen her father in 3 months. During the night, Clara waits in the parking lot and notices a man arriving and entering a car. As he settles inside, she approaches him and acquires some marijuana. Meanwhile, Danny observes the scene from his room's window. The following morning, while Danny enjoys his breakfast, Clara enters and sits at the adjacent table. Spotting a pack of cigarettes in front of Danny, she asks for one, but he remains silent, ignoring her request. This disappoints Clara, leading her to attempt grabbing the pack, only to be halted by Danny. As Clara leaves to assist Lawrence with the dishes, Lawrence engages Danny in conversation, presenting a job opportunity. She shows him a room affected by water issues, and he agrees to handle the task. In exchange, Lawrence offers to waive 1 month's rent for his assistance. They proceed to acquire the necessary supplies, after which Danny sends Lawrence ahead and returns to the hotel. Later, Clara finds herself once again in the parking lot when Danny appears, disposing of some trash. Intrigued, Clara questions Danny about his silence towards her. She expresses a wish to join him for lunch, to which Danny reluctantly consents, with the condition that she remains quiet during their outing. Clara bombards Danny with inquiries, delving into his background and past incarcerations. She proceeds to answer her own questions, stating that she knows he originates from Denmark and has a criminal record. Clara confides in Danny about her father's imprisonment, lamenting her inability to visit him due to her mother's reluctance. Feeling neglected, Clara questions the fairness of her mother's decisions. In a tender moment, Danny comforts Clara, enlightening her about the difficulties families encounter when a loved one is incarcerated and advising her not to judge her father hastily. Clara changes the topic, asking about Danny's family, to which he discloses that he doesn't have children. This prompts Clara to inquire further. Danny notices Clara's inquisitive nature and accuses her of breaking their agreement. Trying to divert her attention, he shows her a magic trick involving a cigarette but decides not to perform it. Getting up from the table, Danny interacts with the cashier, unintentionally leaving his beer bottle behind, which Clara takes a few sips from as they leave. Returning to the hotel, they cross a wide open area with trees and a passing train providing background noise. During this, Clara becomes fascinated by a dog and urges Danny to watch. Despite Danny's warning that the dog won't allow her near, Clara approaches it, only to have the dog quickly run away. Perplexed, Clara asks Danny about the dog's behavior, and he responds, "He doesn't trust you." After some time, while Danny is deeply focused on his work, Lawrence approaches him to have a conversation. She discloses that Clara had let her know about their lunch plan. Danny acknowledges this, mentioning that Clara had said she was feeling hungry. Nonetheless, Lawrence warns Danny about Clara's habit of playing tricks and suggests that he should not encourage her. Upon hearing this, Danny reassures Lawrence, affirming that he is not attracted to young girls and rather prefers women who are of his own age. Following that, Lawrence insists on reimbursing Danny for the meal, but Danny politely declines, leading Lawrence to convey her discomfort with being indebted to him. As evening approaches, we see Lawrence and Danny seated together at the dining table. Danny is enjoying the meal that Lawrence has prepared, appreciating her hospitality. Danny brings up the topic of repaying the debt, but Lawrence dismisses it, mentioning that cooking for him is her way of reciprocating the meal he had shared with her daughter. Meanwhile, in Clara's room, she occupies herself with rolling and smoking a joint. Back at the dining table, Lawrence initiates a conversation with Danny, mentioning Clara's admiration for his father, whom she sees as a hero. Danny consoles Lawrence, explaining that it's common for children to look up to their parents. Danny shares with Lawrence that Clara had mentioned she couldn't visit her father due to her mother's restrictions. Lawrence agrees, noting that prison is not a suitable environment for children, and reveals that Clara's father is set to be released in a few months. However, Danny picks up on Lawrence's lack of enthusiasm in her tone and probes further. With reluctance, Lawrence reveals that Clara's father intends to leave her for a younger woman, a teacher he met through a prison program. Despite the seriousness of Lawrence's disclosure, Danny can't help but let out a small chuckle, which prompts Lawrence to question his response. Danny apologizes, acknowledging that he's heard similar stories before. Aware of the delicate nature of the situation, Lawrence advises Danny not to share this information with Clara. The next day, Danny goes to the diner where he talks to a woman named Nadia about potential job opportunities. Nadia takes him to the kitchen, where he's offered a position as a dishwasher because their machine is broken, requiring manual washing. After putting on the necessary clothes, Danny gets to work, diligently scrubbing dishes, walls, and sinks. Nadia brings him food, and they engage in casual conversation during which Danny introduces himself. After Nadia leaves, Danny sits down to eat his meal before adjusting his shoes to fit the ankle monitor. Then, he finishes his tasks, which include checking the broken dishwasher. At the cafe, Danny sees Lawrence working and asks for a beer. They chat while they drink, but Danny realizes it's almost 7 p.m., so he quickly says goodbye to Lawrence and rushes back to the hotel. When he returns, he answers a call from his parole officer, explaining that he was late because it was his first day at a new job. However, the parole officer scolds him, saying he should have notified them earlier to adjust his schedule. He warns Danny sternly that if he's late again, he'll go back to prison. Meanwhile, Clara is in the laundry room when Lawrence calls her, advising her to eat and go to bed because she'll be back late. Sensing Clara's worry about her father, Lawrence breaks the news that he won't be returning as he's decided to leave them. This revelation shocks Clara, and she doesn't mention it to her mother. While walking past the laundry room, Danny hears Clara's conversation filled with tears, which makes him feel empathetic. Danny is occupied with work in the room when Clara knocks on his door, but he doesn't acknowledge it. She then attempts to get his attention by knocking on his window, but before Danny can react, the man who provided her with weed earlier arrives in a car. Clara joins him in the car, but the situation takes a grim twist when he coerces her into trying cocaine and attacks her. While Danny savors his coffee indoors, he suddenly hears a piercing scream echoing through the air. He swiftly exits the building and spots Clara sprinting towards the hotel, with the man chasing after her. Just as the man reaches Clara and she collapses, Danny steps in to help. However, the assailant brandishes a gun at him. Unperturbed, Danny remains firm, prompting the man to hastily retreat. Danny hurries to Clara's side, guiding her to the bathtub and aiding her in taking off her sweater to help her warm up. Recognizing her shock and shivering, he encourages her to remain conscious while gently splashing water on her face. As Clara becomes distressed, Danny calmly holds her back, aiding her in washing up and providing reassurance until she calms down. Later, Danny wraps Clara in a towel and leads her to a nearby room. There, he offers her a cigarette and asks about the person who attacked her. But Clara refuses to answer, insisting she wants to be alone as she huddles on the bed, worried for her safety. Despite Danny's efforts to convince her otherwise, Clara sticks to her decision, expressing her sadness about her father not being there. Later in the early morning, Danny is outside, smoking a cigarette as the sun comes up. Then, he goes to work and tries to fix the broken dishwasher. Even though he tries hard, the dishwasher still doesn't work, so Danny starts heating water by hand to wash the dishes. But he doesn't give up and keeps trying to repair the dishwasher until he finally succeeds. Meanwhile, at the hotel, Lawrence talks to Danny about Clara's situation. He mentions that Clara has bruises all over her body, explaining it as a result of a fight at school. Lawrence is doubtful, but Danny says he didn't notice anything peculiar. Lawrence, suspecting foul play, believes Clara might have been attacked, but Clara stays silent. Danny advises Lawrence to be patient in dealing with the situation, The next day, while Danny is occupied washing dishes with the fixed dishwasher at work, he spots the man responsible for what happened to Clara sitting at a table in the diner. Taking the chance, Danny confronts the man as he exits and administers a severe beating, seeking revenge for his actions. After knocking the man unconscious and leaving him in the passenger seat, Danny drives off into the woods. Fuming with anger, he punches the car's roof in frustration. Upon getting out of the vehicle, he finds a flammable fuel bottle in the trunk. Filled with anger, Danny pours fuel over the man and the car. Next, he grabs his bloodied hoodie and drenches it with the remaining fuel. Shaking, he uses his lighter to set the hoodie on fire before placing it inside the car. Quickly, Danny leaves the area, unaware that a homeless man saw everything. Back at work, Danny is tidying up the gun when Nadia suddenly walks into the kitchen, causing him to quickly hide the weapon. Nadia scolds him for being absent before he rushes to wash and take care of his injured knuckles, hiding the gun in the dishwasher. Danny tries to go back to his tasks at the hotel. Lawrence comes in looking upset and tells Danny that the police had come by, asking about the man who died. Feeling Lawrence's distress, Danny pauses before reluctantly telling her about what occurred with Clara. Lawrence becomes overwhelmed with emotion, crying, but Danny, keeping his word to Clara, doesn't reveal everything. However, as Lawrence starts to figure out what happened, her shock changes to anger, and she asks why Danny didn't go to the authorities. Despite her anger, Danny soothes Lawrence, asking for her comprehension in this chaotic situation. The next day, Danny goes back to his usual work routine, but things change unexpectedly when Clara shows up holding an HIV testing kit. Worried, she requests to do the test right there, and Danny helps her with it. Thankfully, the results turn out negative, easing Clara's mind, and she hugs Danny before leaving. In the days that follow, Danny continues with his daily life, seeking comfort and diversion with Nadia. In the meantime, Danny and Lawrence started talking about Clara's father, and Lawrence revealed her recent bitterness towards him. However, things get worse when two intimidating individuals, along with the homeless witness, approach Danny at his workplace. They identify him as the one responsible for burning their friend's drugs. The first man demands compensation, but when Danny declines, the second man becomes violent, hitting Danny in a moment of self-defense. Danny fights back, making the attackers leave, worried about facing more retaliation. He gets the hidden gun from the dishwasher and hides it under a nearby dumpster close to the hotel, aiming to keep it unseen and inaccessible. Afterwards, Danny sadly tells Clara he has to go, but their talk is cut short by the sound of a barking dog. Sensing trouble, Danny tells Clara to go inside and find safety. Out of nowhere, a masked attacker shows up, shooting at them rapidly. Danny grabs Clara and guides her into the storeroom. Acting fast, Danny turns off the power, making the hotel go dark. While the threatening masked men are around the hotel, Danny takes the chance to escape, getting into a tense chase with the man outside. One more person from the group tries to stop Danny, but Danny manages to remove him. Following that, Danny gets the concealed gun from the dumpster and changes the situation, fatally shooting one of the attackers. As the conflict intensifies, Danny gets involved in a violent physical fight with the remaining attacker. Danny resorts to biting his opponent's neck in a last-ditch effort to stay alive. As a last act of rebellion, Danny seizes the gun of the defeated assailant. Yet, Clara steps in, begging for leniency and stopping Danny's desire for revenge. Seeing a chance, Danny runs away into the night, removing his ankle monitor as a symbolic gesture of freedom. With Lawrence's assistance, Danny flees, saying a sincere goodbye to her as he vanishes into the shadows. In the meantime, Clara looks for comfort and refuge, finding solace alongside her father at the well-known Chinese restaurant, where she even develops a connection with the once distant dog. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thank you for watching and see you again soon. Take care.